All right, guys, welcome in here. It is, good Christ, I don't even know what today is. I think it's Thursday. I'm going to go with Thursday because I believe there is Thursday night football, not to mention we've got the legend himself, Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. He joins us here on Thursdays. We got college football up the yang here that we've got to get you caught up with. A couple of games here tonight. We had a game last night that we were able to provide you guys a winning free play here on the show. We told you the total didn't make any sense, even though you got some high-scoring offenses there. Just didn't seem like these teams were going to have enough to be able to get to that 70 number. I had no idea they'd barely get to 20, but either way, a win is a win. Also, we talked about the over and backing the Washington Nationals last night. That all came to fruition. It was a crazy night, but it's going to be even crazier tonight. We got another Game 5 in Major League Baseball. Of course, the Astros are at home, and who better to have on the mound than Garrett Cole, taking on those pesky damn Tampa Bay Rays. They won't go away. They're like a bad rash. Nothing you do. You just can't get them out of here. It's unbelievable. So we got some thoughts, and I got to play on that game tonight here that I want to pass along to you. Got some thoughts, of course, about tonight's NFL game. But I know Ralph Michaels of Wager Talk, guys, he's going to join us here in just a minute. Ralph's got he's got a play for you tonight in Thursday Night Football. He's got a free play for you as well. We'll break down some of the top games coming up this weekend in college football. I can't believe we're at the halfway point of college football. Think about this, guys. Next week, we'll just about have our very first playoff rankings in college football. That's how far along we are. It's unbelievable. It's flying by right now. Hell, we got NBA exhibition. College hoops will be here. It's crazy. Time is flying by, but there is plenty of opportunities to profit, which is exactly what we want to do here, which is why we want to thank our friends over at sportsmemo.com and remind you guys, if you want to head over to sportsmemo.com, you've got a whole roster filled of guys ready to rock and roll here tonight. They got their plays ready to go, whether it be Dr. Chuck RX, whether it be Hunter Engelhardt, Mid-Major Matt, Teddy Covers. There is something for everybody at Sports Memo. There's free plays there. There's great information. There is all you got to do is get over to sportsmemo.com, guys. It is a plethora. It's like one-stop shop. Everything you need to know about making it a profitable Thursday is there at sportsmemo.com. And, of course, want to thank our good friends at paperhead.com. What is paperhead.com? Where they are, without a doubt, the leading technology provider for sportsbooks around the world. The sportsbook industry, they turn to Paperhead. Nobody is on the edge of all the latest technology, all the tools that you guys need to be independent sports agents. Paperhead.com. It is a phone call away, guys. I've been telling you about that for a couple of weeks now. Had an opportunity to talk to a fireman, as a matter of fact, who started out opening up his own independent sports book, and he started out with just the guys in the house. Great interview, by the way, talking about the ups and the downs that he had. It was a side hustle for him the entire time, but it got to the point where, yeah, he got really big. He got really good at it, and boom, now he's doing it full time. So I would encourage you guys to check out that interview with this guy. Good guy, tells it like it is, doesn't cut punches. Really fun talking to him too. And again, I would remind you guys, it's just a phone call away. It costs nothing to call. It costs nothing to get yourself set up. Nobody's saying that you got to do anything right away, but my word, you don't need $1 million. You just need a little effort. That's all you got to do is a little effort. You probably have your book of business sitting in front of you right now. Neighbors, family, co-workers, buddies, fraternity guys, whatever it may be. All you got to do is check it out, guys. The software and the support more than anything else with Paperhead is what we love. 888-762-2111. Write that number down, guys, or check them out at paperhead.com/Joe. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. It is not that hard. You guys are bitching and moaning. I can't believe the books. Well, be the book, guys. Forget about beating the books. Be the book. It is that simple. 888-762-2111. 21-11 is how you get it going. All right, coming up here, we'll have your play of the night here as far as Major League Baseball goes. I'll tell you how I'm betting it and where I'm going. But first, it's time for Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Let's break down these college games for you. Hey, guys, welcome in here. It is another Thursday, which means we got a boatload of stuff on the plate here, guys. We got NFL games, college football games, college football weekend. There's just a lot going on, and wait until college hoops comes along here. There is nobody better to help us sort through all of it here than our good friend Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Guys, got to get there, WagerTalk.com. Make sure you're visiting the Cal Sports page at CalSportsLV on Twitter is where you find them. And Ralph, I almost want to say a bit of a yawner here tonight in the NFL, and I'm glad there's a couple of college games on, but I don't, everyone I've talked to don't know what to do with this NFL game on a Thursday night when you've got two, I think, halfway decent college games going on tonight.
Yeah, again, I prefer college football over the NFL any day, but I still think there's value in this NFL game. And, let's just do this, Joe. Let's start off the game by saying, if you're going to go to Wager Talk to check out some of my free content, don't buy my play tonight because we're going to give it to you right now. Don't spend the $25. And my play is on the under, and I've been on the Patriots under a couple games already, so they've been good to us. Mm-hmm. And the defense is just different this year. Why is it different? Well, Bill Belichick is his own DC, and he's calling the plays. This is the first time in over 4 years that he's called his own plays again, and we've seen what's happened. Against Miami, he brought starters back in, and he wanted that shutout. Against the Jets, they throw that pick six. What does he do? He puts Tom Brady back in. He doesn't want that defense giving up points. The defense on the season gave up one offensive score to the Jets, one offensive score to Buffalo, a cheap score to Washington on that big run last week. And what happens? They shut him out the rest of the way. I do like the under in this game. I think it's a very fair number. New York Giants, we saw Saquon Barkley being out. We saw what Jones did against a very good defense last week against Minnesota. Patriots defense certainly on par with that. 211 yards for the Giants. They're without Barkley. They're without Ingram. They're likely without Shepard. You take your top three skill players out. You put a rookie quarterback against the Bill Belichick-led defense, and will the Patriots run up the score? I don't think they're going to run up the score against the Giants. Brady has mentioned on how he's getting older, how the time between games is getting shorter. Now you're on a short week. You have offensive issues as well with players being injured. I think it's hey, let's win this game and get out of town. So my official play at Wager Talk is the play on the under, and I personally also bet the New York Giants under 10.5 points. That was minus 101, so it was close to being pick'em or even money, but I think they do hold the Giants without a touchdown tonight.
And I will say this as a caveat, guys, that's for tonight, because I do think once they get Saquon back, once they can get a little healthier, I'm actually going to be really looking forward to seeing how the market reacts to, Danny Dimes and to this Giants team with a full complement of weapons. It should be interesting to see what they do with him.
Oh, no question. You know what? I think we've seen the difference. There's a lot of GMs that used to not want to get quarterbacks that have only been in the system a year, like Dwayne Haskins at Washington. Mm-hmm. We've seen a quarterback that was tutored, with a Duke head coach that has been a quarterback coach and has been a multi-year starter, how he's much more composed than Dwayne Haskins, who has, 12 starts under his belt in Ohio State in just 1 year. Right. It makes a big difference going through that process, improving from 1 year to the next. And I think Dwayne Haskins will be a better quarterback in the future. I clearly would not play Dwayne Haskins now where I think Jones is ready.
I love that. All right, Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Guys, let me show you right up here again. Wagertalk.com. You'll see there he is. Thursday Night Football. Don't bother, guys. He's giving you to play right now. The under tonight in the game, New York Giants and the New England Patriots. And, Ralph, let's take a look here at the college slate. I think there's some really good games. You got a couple tonight, a couple of interesting ones tomorrow as well. But I'll start with the ACC with Syracuse and North Carolina State. Kind of a little disappointed in Dino Babers, man, in this Syracuse squad. I really am. Obviously, we know both of these teams lost quarterbacks last year. I expected that defensive front to be a little bit better of Syracuse. They don't seem to be able to stop the run. They got to go on the road. This number's been bouncing back and forth between North Carolina State -4, -5, somewhere in between there. What do you think of these two teams going into this game here tonight?
You know, Joe, there's a system I have that applies to this game, and I'm not going to bet a play on it because of it, but I just want to bring it up because it's an interesting thought for people to pay attention to. If you are a home favorite, this game applies to NC State tonight. If you are a home favorite off a road game and you have revenge from last year where you allowed 50 or more points, so NC State last year, if you remember, that final score was 51-41. So you're a home favorite this week. You were on the road last week. They were at Florida State. And you have revenge against your opponent that allowed over 50%. Since 2003, those teams have actually gone 39-11, 78% against the spread. So it's a strong angle that says play on NC State. But, you know, I'm not so sure. I agree with you. I thought Syracuse would be a little better. I'm looking at my college stat matchup report. Syracuse has played the number 46 schedule in college football, and they're minus 52 yards per game. That's number 101 out of 130 teams. Not very good. NC State, though, while NC State is plus 110 yards per game, they've only played the number 118th schedule, one of the weakest in all of college football. So you're not comparing apples to apples when you're looking at these two teams. So what do you have to do? I think you have to look at Syracuse. DeVito was a little banged up. I believe he's healthy. Will he be able to pass against NC State? I believe so. NC State allowing 63% on the year. They allowed 330 yards passing to Ball State. They allowed over 300 yards passing to Florida State. And, you know, Florida State has talent, but we saw how Florida State has struggled early in this year with their offense. So I think Syracuse can move the ball against NC State despite that system. And again, I'm not basing a play on a system or a trend. It just helps you make a play, you off a play,
right.
Or you're always going to weigh the negatives and the positives on a game and find out which is heavier or which you agree in more. Small opinion for me, but I actually think Syracuse can hang within this number.
There you go. All right, Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV on Twitter, guys. One of the games tomorrow, Ralph, so damn frustrating, this team, and I want to scream, but you've got Oregon taking on at home the Colorado Buffaloes. Now, we've talked about Colorado in the past. Last week, Oregon coming off a bye, averaging about, 27 points in the first half of games. So, of course, like a knucklehead, I'm like, hey, give me them in the first half last week, and they turned the ball over 18 times, Ralph. In fact, Cal hung with them pretty good, and they had to come back in the second half. They've got all the weapons in the world, Oregon, and yet I can't put my finger on it. I don't know how to trust them. 20.5 points they're giving up here, Ralph. They're laying at home against the Colorado Buffaloes, who play no defense. What do you see happening in this game?
Well, okay, we're talking Oregon and Colorado, and this statement may not make sense to people, but an Oregon team with Justin Herbert, who people thought were going to be a first-round pick, an Oregon team that returned 10 starters this year, you would think would just be one of the best offenses in football. Their defense has been the best unit on the field. You look at the Ducks defense, they're allowing 261 yards per game. They're allowing 14 first downs per game. They gave up 27 points to Auburn. We know a couple of those were on some big plays where Auburn came back. Besides that, 6 to Nevada, 3 to Montana, 6 to Stanford, 7 to California. Now, again, none of those offenses were as good as Colorado. Not that Colorado's a great offense, but they're certainly better than this offense. I just think we're so accustomed to Oregon playing that up-tempo style. Well, Mario Cristobal is not. He only ran 73 plays against California, ran 54 plays against Stanford. 50. You're not going to get an over with 54 plays. Nope. So it's not going to happen. And, even against Montana, when they were pushing the pace, they only got to 80. They're not reaching the mid-80s, the 90s like they used to. So they have shown us that they're really okay slowing this tempo down, playing a defensive game. And, again, the offense hasn't impressed me. Yeah, 77 against Nevada. That's a long time ago. Colorado's defense, though, as you said, has been shredded. Every game they've allowed 440 yards or more. That's not a good sign. But, again, now let's compare schedules. Colorado State, Nebraska, Air Force, Arizona State, Arizona. No elite teams, no top 20 teams, but we also don't have any bottom 40 teams. Everyone's in that middle rung. And if you played those opponents for 5 straight games, you're going to give up some yards.
Right.
I actually lean the under in this game. I like the number where it is as far as the side goes. I think we are going to have another lower scoring game for the Oregon Ducks.
Love that. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com is where you go, guys, at CalSportsLV on Twitter. Make sure you guys are tailing him. Information galore on that Twitter page, guys. Great information, free information every day, stuff that you guys should definitely start to grasp and you need to know to make smart sports investing decisions. Another game here coming up, college football, Ralph. I didn't understand the line. I still don't understand the line. But Memphis coming in at noon on Saturday, taking on Temple. And a lot of love for this Memphis squad here. A lot of people giving a lot of credit to Memphis, and yet nobody wants to seem to, give any credit to Temple's defense. The line keeps moving in the direction of Memphis here. It opened up 3.5. I'm seeing 5.5. I'm seeing 6s in some places here. I don't know. Is Temple's defense at home, or would they be able to hang with Memphis's offense?
Well, Memphis's offense has been moving the ball, but we're talking against some inferior foes. They played Mississippi. They scored 15 points. Navy, you understand why they scored 34 points, because you only ran 50 plays. Again, that's the Navy offense, though, slowing it down. I look at this game, and my number, I'm looking at my power ratings, is 5. And I'm just going to tell people real quick, if they go to the Cal Sports page, the Ralph Michaels page at Wager Talk, I list my power ratings every Sunday. And if you need a set of power ratings, don't use 1, use 2, use 3, use 4, but it gives you a gauge. So I think the line is right. So you and I both study college football, but we have a different opinion of where the line should be. So to me, I have the number where it is. Temple concerned me a little bit with East Carolina not being able to get enough margin in a 10-point win. I do like that Memphis has gone on the road with Brady White and put up 500 yards at both South Alabama at ULM. This Temple defense is quite a bit better than that. I'm looking at my college stat report, and this pretty much tells you about teams are as even as can be. And on my stat report, Temple has played the number 121 schedule. Temple's played the number 123. So they're exactly even. Temple plus 152 yards per game. Memphis plus 135. Almost exactly even. Yards per play, Memphis 2.4, Temple 1.7. Memphis a little better on that. You add in home edge, and, the game is right about where it's going to be. This is a game where I unfortunately for our listeners, I'm going to be split. I think the line is where it should be. I don't see an edge on the total. I think Memphis is going to be tested. This is by far the best defense they faced on the road. And I think Temple is going to try to run the ball if they get the lead. So if Temple gets the lead early, I like the under. If Memphis gets the lead and forces Temple to throw and raise the pace, I like the over. Temple, again, ran the ball 50 times against East Carolina. They ran the ball 49 times against Georgia Tech, past 22. So we know Rod Carey, going back to his Northern Illinois days, he wants to run the ball first. So if they get the lead, I look for under because they will control the pace.
Love that. Ralph Michaels, Wager Talk. All right, Big Ten, Ralph. Even Michigan fans don't want to lay 3 touchdowns against Illinois here on the road. Lovie Smith and company there started out great. Big win to open up the season, but a lot of question marks still with this offense in Michigan, and I don't know. Do you trust a Michigan offense here to go into Illinois and to be able to, defensively hold it back and score enough points to even cover this game, Ralph?
You could have stopped it. Do you trust the Michigan offense? And that could have been enough. The answer would be no. I will tell you this. If you're Jim Harbaugh and, you lost to Wisconsin, you put up 52 to Rutgers, and for probably the first week in a year and a half, you probably didn't hear any shit. So I'm thinking, you know what? Now against Iowa, you scored 10 points. Yeah, you won, but you still have those guys coming out because you put up 267 yards. Well, you are at Penn State and Notre Dame at home the next 2 weeks. So if I can score 50, frickin', I am putting it on the board. I will tell you this, something to pay attention to. 2 weeks ago for the Rutgers game, the new OC came down from the press box. He had been in the press box the first 3 games, and they talked about how he just wasn't part of the game. And you hear that often, that there are teams that when they do make that change with a coordinator, it really can help the team. So, I don't know if we saw Michigan back to Michigan last week or we just saw Iowa play an extremely good game. With that being said, the only offensive performance they had was Rutgers, who was, a lame duck team that fired their coach after the game. I can't lay this with it. You have Penn State on deck, another road game. You may want to press the tempo a little bit, but if there's anything you have in your bag of tricks, you're not going to bring it out against an Illinois team that has allowed 40 to Minnesota and 42 to Nebraska, 2 teams that haven't scored either. So, Michigan, I think, still wants some feel-good wins. Would it surprise me if Michigan covers the number? No. But I think it's a correlated parlay that if you think Michigan likes the number, you like the over. And if you think they're going to play vanilla again and just win this game, then you like the under.
I love that. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Ralph being a Oklahoma State alum there, it was never easy to watch the Red River Shootout, man. Texas and OU going at it. Ellinger versus Jalen Hurts. And, a bunch of people keep telling me how there's something very special about Jalen Hurts, that he's got a chip on his shoulder this year where nothing is good enough, where he is out to make a point to a lot of people, including, of course, Nick Saban there. So he scares me, although Texas, and you mentioned this last time we talked about him against LSU, that whole Tom Herman as an underdog situation, that trend, it's often scary enough to push people away from this game. But OU's laying 11 here, Ralph. What do you think the chances of Texas being able to pull the upset again?
I don't think they pull the upset, but with Oklahoma's defense, it's not that same shutdown defense. It's a Big 12 defense this year. They're allowing 350 yards. They're allowing 20 first downs. They're allowing 20 points per game. And I think that always leaves the back door open. The dog in the series has gone 18-9, so they've covered two out of every 3 games. And Joe, when we get into November and we talk about rivalries, we're going to talk about liking the dog in Ohio State, Michigan, and Auburn, Alabama, and Florida, Florida State, and Clemson, South Carolina, because it means so much for the team. The team that's down, no matter how much they're down, they don't quit against their rivals. They keep fighting, and you get the dog's best effort. Well, that's why the dog has won this series so much. That's why this game in the last 5 years has been decided by 25 total points. 5 points per game has been the margin. And the Herman thing is a situation. Herman now 14-3 as a dog, 5-0 as a double-digit dog, and of those 17 games as an underdog with Houston and Texas, he's won 11 of them outright. Sam Ellinger has proven to me that he can keep the back door open. You're trailing by 17, and Oklahoma's playing prevent defense with 2 minutes left. Texas is still going to try to score and get that back door. My concern is this. I played against Texas last week against West Virginia. They were without 3 defensive back starters. West Virginia still threw 3 picks. So, the health of Texas, there's been no final report. If they're still missing 3 secondary starters, I can't back Texas even with this back door. I would lean more with the over. If they get at least 2 of them back, I do think Texas can keep this game close.
How about, Ralph, another very interesting game here with obviously some national championship implications, but can Texas A&M hang with Alabama? Because it doesn't, or at least everyone wants me to believe that this isn't the same old Alabama. I don't know. They certainly look like the same old Alabama, and yet you've got a Texas A&M team who I think people thought were going to be better than what they were with Kellen Mond returning and Bubba having another year, and I don't know. They have not impressed to this particular point, but am I missing something about Alabama, or are they just Alabama?
Well, I think they're not Alabama. I don't think there's a question. Tua is Tua, and the offense is great, but this defense is allowing 325 yards per game. That's mediocre.
Wow.
15 points per game. And you look at, they went into South Carolina. Ryan Helinski, a true freshman, was playing a second game. South Carolina put up 459 yards. And for the first time in over 10 years, South Carolina, any team, had 31 first downs against Alabama in an SEC game. To me, that's the telling point. Alabama would not let you drive in the past. Yes, you may have broken a 90-yard touchdown run and scored a play, but for them to allow 31 first downs against South Carolina, and then last week at home against Mississippi, give up 476 yards and 25 more first downs. We know Alabama lost their middle linebacker. He was their heart and soul. He was their play caller. They have a freshman in there. They have other multiple freshman starters. This Alabama defense is nowhere near the defense they've been in the past. So yes, I think the back door can stay open. You look at A&M and you say, well, they went to Clemson and they lost by 14. Well, is that really that bad? No, but if you're looking at 5 games and you're 2-3, what happened? They went to Auburn. Well, they had a 92-yard edge against Auburn. They just struggled in the red zone and didn't score. And then last week you say, well, Arkansas, you could say, yeah, they played poorly, or you could say, well, listen, they were in an Auburn-Alabama sandwich, and they played a foe that they knew they were a 3-touchdown favorite against in Jerry World, where it's, like lights, camera, action, and, it's not like a real college football game. Then, I think that was a letdown spot. So I have A&M higher than most. I went through the season. The Clemson power rating does not drop because of that. The Auburn power rating did not drop in that game. The Arkansas game did a little bit, but I can understand the situation. So this is make or break. If they stay close and cover again, it's the A&M team, I thought. If they get blown out, then I was obviously very wrong on this A&M team, and I'll dish them forever the rest of the year.
I love it.
Again, this Bama defense, nowhere near. You can't compare this Alabama team to any of the past 5 years.
There's one or two other games here, Ralph, on the card I think are very interesting, and one of them is in your neck of the woods, in the Nevada area. The team is UNLV, Ralph, and I don't know here, man. I'm being told by a lot of people that they don't get enough credit here, that they're a little bit better than people give them credit to be, and yet here they are. They're in a situation where they're going up against the Vanderbilt Commodores, SEC team, Ralph, taking on UNLV, but they're getting 14 points, UNLV, man. Are we not giving them enough credit here? Is 14 points too much?
Well, Armani Rogers has been banged up, and Oblid came in, and he may be playing this week. And this really is normally the spot that I would like Vanderbilt. I love playing a very poor SEC team that is 1-4, that needs a feel-good win, that has to give their alum and their fans a good win. You know, they beat Northern Illinois by 6. I don't think they've covered a game the entire season, but I can't, and here's why. You know, you read the Nashville papers this week, and Derek Mason goes up to Riley Neal. And the Riley Neal is a Ball State grad transfer who's only been here this year, and says, hey, Riley, you know, you've gotten us this far. Don't look over your shoulder. Don't worry about it. But I think we're going to also start getting Deuce Wallace in and getting him some action this year because he's going to be our quarterback next year. Well, anytime you have a quarterback with the looking over your shoulder situation, I make one bad pass, I'm going to get benched. I have absolutely no interest in backing you as a favorite. So UNLV has also been a very good favorite when they're getting over 2 touchdowns. I think a lot of people, because they look past them. But Vanderbilt's not in the look past them role, because when you're 1-4 and you just lost to Mississippi 31-6, you know, this is, you know, I have to think this is Derek Mason's final year. Vanderbilt, probably one of the toughest coaching situations you have. Small school, hard to get in, bad football legacy. Can't get recruits in, you know, no question. I don't know who's going to do a better job with them, but how many years can Derek Mason be there and the program continue to do what it is? So that quote right there and that article, it makes it a no play for me, where normally Vanderbilt would be on a situation that I prefer.
All right, Ralph Michaels, we got a couple of TNAs for you here coming up. But one other game I want to get to, Ralph, because it used to be must-watch television. I don't know if it's going to be must-watch television at 7:30 Eastern time, but USC taking on Notre Dame, Ralph. Talk about rivalries. It used to be huge. It used to be everything, but I don't know. Notre Dame, listen, they almost beat Georgia, all right? That was pretty damn impressive. They came back. They beat Virginia the following week. They rebounded. USC, they're going to have Slovis back, the backup quarterback there. So the freshman, he's back, so they're not dealing with their third stringer. 11 points, it looks like, is what the number is, USC in this game. Is it a million points? To me, it's either going to be a million points or they're going to struggle to find points in this game, Ralph. How do you see it working out?
You know, I like the under in the game, and you look at, you know, following USC closely like I do, I don't know how much of a difference there was between Daniels, Fink, and Slovis. They said it all year. It really was a 4-man battle. You know, Sears transferred out after they named Daniels, and, you know, then we saw, you know, Slovis come in and get hurt, and then Fink. And you have to remember, USC switched to the air raid offense under Graham Harrell this year. So, you know, you look back at the Washington State days with Mike Leach, he would pull quarterbacks in the middle of the game, and you'd have a 4-year starting quarterback, and he pulled them the other year. It's a plug-and-play system. It's unlike most systems where, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, throw the ball quick and get rid of the ball. But when I look at what USC did, you know, we saw Slovis take over good at BYU. He had 2 or 3 picks. They were -3 turnovers. They lose a road game. What happened? Fink goes to Washington. Couple turnovers, couple interceptions. They can't get the ball moving, and they lose to Washington. I think another road game against a good defense, that they're very careful with these plays, and the quarterbacks tell them to not make these throws in situations that are bad, and they try to slow the tempo down and just do a sugar huddle, standing there letting the clock run. And on the Notre Dame side, you know, yeah, you're off a 52 win against Bowling Green, but you have USC, and then you go to Michigan. So, you know, I think these players are thinking, well, you know, between USC and home and Michigan on the road, Michigan's the bigger game, more recruiting, emphasis on the game, all the local pride. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Notre Dame runs. USC tries to run the ball more. Against Washington, they ran 33 times and only passed 32. Wow. That's not the traditional air raid. I think that's what you want when you have freshman quarterbacks or young quarterbacks
Right.
playing, and you go on the road with an air raid in learning the first year in the system with an inexperienced quarterback.
Love that. Looking at the under there, Notre Dame, USC, Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Once again, guys, head over to wagertalk.com right there. Get to the Cal Sports page. You'll see it. He's got his play up here tonight. Hopefully you were listening here from the beginning. He's got you covered with tonight's NFL game. Couple of thoughts on the Thursday night college game, Friday night college game, and, of course, these games here over the weekend. And, Ralph, we always like to throw a TNA out there for folks, and it's not what you think it is. It's Ralph is known for his TNA, his trends and angles, guys, and nobody's got more, which is why it is so important for you guys to tail him on Twitter at CalSportsLV. Make sure that you are tailing him. Always great information coming out there. But what are, give me a trend or an angle here this weekend, Ralph, that you've looked at here.
Well, the first thing I want to mention, Joe, is not just a trend or an angle, but a philosophy you should use handicapping. On every show I've ever done, I talk about how you have to readjust the way you handicap college football when you get to October because of conference games. You can't compare the stats because of the strength of schedule differences. That's why I do the stat sheet. You have to look at the number of plays people run, because there are times you're playing young kids and your team's making adjustments and you're getting set for conference play. You have unfamiliarity playing at new stadiums or teams coming in that aren't accustomed to playing you. Well, I took a look, and when I looked at October conference games, this is just isolating those conference games in October. So some teams first, some teams second. As the month progresses, there's only two conferences in football that the over-unders were over 50% in conference games, and that was the Sun Belt and the Big 12. You go back and take a look at like the AAC, going back to 2016, American Conference AAC football games have gone 37 and 57. The over has only hit 39.4%. MAC conference games in October, 43 and 55, 43.7% to the over. ACC games, 64 and 86, 42% to the over. You have familiarity. People know the playbooks. People have studied the trends and the way that the players play. So these first couple conference games tend to go under. Speaking of unders, there's not a typo. If you look at the line report, that San Diego State-Wyoming game, says 37.5 or 38. So what do you do with that? How about these two numbers? Since 2011, if you have a total of 39 or less in college football, they've gone 9-21-1 over under, 70% to the under. Wow. Joe, just like we used to talk in college football last year, how many times did we see UCF with totals of 109?
Right. Crazy
numbers that in college, people would never bet them. Our customers made so much money on those because when you have a total like 38 in college football, well, that total probably should be 36, but Vegas just doesn't adjust it enough because they don't need to. People don't want to bet under on those kind of numbers. And this number shocked me. I had no idea. When I pulled out looking at the low totals of 39 or more, I actually disagree with this one because I lean San Diego State.
Okay.
The home team, when the total is 39 or less, has gone 6-23 against the spread.
What?
21%. Really? The road team has covered 78.6%. So low scoring, does that mean close game? I don't know. Right. I don't get the logic out of it, but I just had to mention it because it was, again, even though it's a wow angle, it doesn't mean I'm going to play it, and I actually disagree with the side, but I just thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And one other thing I want to mention, teams that get outgained by 120 yards and won the game.
Okay.
And now they're an away dog of up to 17. So you either you were plus turnovers, you had multiple special teams or defensive touchdowns, and you probably shouldn't have won the game, but you did.
Right.
You got outgained by 120 yards plus. This week you're an away dog of up to 17. Those teams have gone 9-27, 25% against the spread. That is a team in your area. that would say to fade Massachusetts and play on Florida Atlantic.
Yes, FAU. Yes, he's been talking a lot of smack about this game. A lot of FAU backers here trying to convince me that they're starting to roll here a little bit over there with Joey Freshwater over there. I love him. Lane Kiffin, a lot of fun there. Back FAU, I'm actually buying that. Massachusetts, I can't figure them out. Well, actually, I can. They're just terrible. They should play Connecticut every week and give themselves a chance. That's it.
Joe, let me put this. Let's just do a little transitional line here. Okay, when Akron played Massachusetts 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
They were the worst two teams in my power ratings.
Oh, jeez, okay.
And Akron was a 7-point favorite at UMass.
Oh, God.
Now Akron is a 14-point home dog to Kent State.
Wow.
Kent State in the last 6 years has only won 2 road games by over 14 points. So you have a rival who's a 14-point favorite. And people may not know Kent State and Akron are 8 miles apart. They are fierce rivals in Cleveland.
Yep,
and people know Auburn and Alabama, but the directional Michigan teams, it's as severe of a rivalry between Eastern, Central, and Western, same as Akron and Kent. Yeah, the football teams may suck, but they're still rivals. They still hate each other, and all those other sports. It's a meaningful game for those players. So those are the type of things you have to look for. Kent State shouldn't be laying 14 to you and me lining up with 10 of our friends drinking beer. Yeah.
If we're playing flag football, it should not happen, guys. Kent State, unbelievable. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Again, guys, here is the page. All you have to do is get there. That's it. Wagertalk.com. Get to the Cal Sports page. All sorts of great free information there. Don't forget, he talked about the power rankings. All of it there for you, just a couple of clicks away. And, of course, 3 days, 7 days, a month, package, year, season, whatever it is you want, available there with Ralph. And also, Ralph, you've got, listen, all weekend long, you're going to have packages and plays ready for people to hop on anyway, right?
Joe, I'm going to mention a quick special. 30-day all access. There's a lot of people at Wager Talk and Sports Memo that just like buying the 5% plays. And there's not that much of a difference between my 4 and 5% plays. It really isn't. I play them the same. So, 2 weeks ago, I had a 5% play. I lose it, and I go 6-1 on the day. More people bought a 5% play than a package. So I wanted people to try me for 30 days. I have a 30-day package. Normally, if you go to Wager Talk, it's $325. Go to Ralph Michaels' page, click on the 30-day, and where it says enter code 126. You'll get 4 weeks of football, basically for the price of 2, just $199.
Done. 126 is the code, guys. Make sure you get to wagertalk.com. Get to the Ralph Michaels page, guys, all right? Make sure you hop on there. Get going. Put the code in. There's Ralph right there. And you can see his page. He's got all his plays. He's got everything you need. Just put the code in there. Hop on for a 30-day all access for, just for next to nothing, man. Damn it. Jumping on that as soon as I'm done here. 129. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Guys, make sure you get to his Twitter page at CalSportsLV. Ralph, always a pleasure, brother. Good luck in the games tonight, this weekend, my friend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
You got it. Ralph Michaels, wagertalk.com. Get there today, guys. I want to thank Ralph very much for stopping by here. All good stuff as always at CalSportsLV, wagertalk.com. Get there, guys. Let's do this. Let's make it a profitable night, not only in college football, NFL, but also Major League Baseball. And in fact, we are going to pause for the cause here and make a couple of adjustments. Technically, I will be back live with you guys here in about 10 minutes. I'm going to share with you what I think about tonight's Major League Baseball game between the Astros and the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll deliver that free play to you. That is coming up. Keep it right here, guys. And once again, thank you so very much for making us a part of your day. More free plays coming up. Don't forget to hit sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, Ralph Michaels, and, of course, our good friends over at UWager. That's right. Get your account open here. Still time for you to be able to do a little shopping around here. 1-800-UWager. The code JRS50. Get it open. Get that 100% deposit bonus match in there today. And then, of course, don't forget our friends at paperhead.com. Forget about bitching and moaning, trying to beat the book. Become the book. It's so simple. 888-762-2111. That's 888-762-2111. You guys hang out. We will be back here going live for you on Twitter, on YouTube. That is coming up next. Don't go nowhere. Be right back.